All right, who are the biggest threats to knock off the Kyle Snyder, the great Kyle Snyder, 4-time world and Olympic champion, 9-time medalist, 10 teams in a row, that Kyle Snyder. Who can knock this guy off? Well, I've narrowed it down to a top 3, the biggest threats to take out Kyle Snyder. Now, Kyle is on his 3rd Olympic team. Hard to believe, even harder to believe, he's still just 28 years old, and he says he wants to wrestle till he's 45. So a lot more winning still to come for Kyle Snyder. But in his 3rd Olympic run, he's got some huge challenges in front of him. The number 3 for me, I was between 2 different wrestlers, but I decided on Magomed Muradov of Azerbaijan. He's the reigning world silver medalist, a 2-time world medalist in his own right. He had a pretty competitive match with Kyle Snyder. It started out, it was Magomedov in the lead. He was actually up 4-1 in the 2nd period and absolutely flat out gassed. Kyle broke this guy. You could see it towards the end of the 1st period. He was starting to get kind of tired, and Snyder was starting to bully him a little bit. And then he was still able, in spite of that, Kyle got in on a leg, and he was able to crotch lift Kyle through for 2 points, and it made it 4-1. And then from then on, it was just Kyle. He didn't look back. He got a reversal. He got some takedowns, and ultimately he pulled away. Now, on the one hand, Magomedov does not want to wrestle Kyle Snyder again. There's no doubt about that, and he is the number 1 seed at the Olympic Games. And he don't want to see Kyle, but at the same time, if this guy has improved his shape and his ability to withstand the pace of Kyle, it could be a lot scarier of a match, and that's why I had him at number 3, not Macharashvili of Georgia, who has split with Magomedov previously. The number 2 biggest threat, in my opinion, is Azer Parviz of Iran. Now, Iran is a great nation in men's freestyle and Greco-Roman as well. And Azer Parviz is one of a couple guys that Iran could have sent that had a chance at a medal here. And Azer Parviz boasts a win this year over Kyle Snyder, a 6-4 victory. Now, if you watch that match, Kyle kind of had it under control, and then it was a step out that was almost not a step out for Azer Parviz that really shifted the match, right? Azer Parviz hit a nice high crotch and scored, and then there was this really close, and there was a review, and they didn't really have the angle if Kyle did or didn't step out. And so it was 3-3 tied, but Magomedov was in the lead, and then we challenged it, and then we were down 4-3, and then Kyle tried kind of a desperation shot and gave up a go-behind 6-4, which made it, it might have been a 6-3 final, actually, now that I think about it. Either way, the score is actually even closer than the final score sort of indicates. But Azer Parviz, both Magomed, all 3 of these guys actually, very tall, taller than Kyle. Kyle's more squat, stocky, gets under you and lifts. These guys use their length really well, and Azer Parviz did a really nice job of finishing. He's really tough, even from a standing single position. Snyder had a hard time scoring. I mean, there was a sequence where I bet he was on his foot for a minute or so, Azer Parviz, before he was able to get the takedown. So he's not just a strong physical guy. He's got length. He's got flexibility, really good defense. He's a tough guy to beat, and he will be unseeded. So for all we know, he could be Kyle's 1st-round matchup. Kyle is the 3 seed. So we don't know those 1st-round matchups. There's 8 unseeded wrestlers, and they're going to be randomly drawn into the bracket. But the number 1 is the number 1 by a wide margin. And this guy, for my money, might be the best wrestler walking the planet right now. Magomed Tajudin of Bahrain. He's not Bahrainian. He is from Russia. He's from Dagestan. He is coached by Abdulrashid Sajalayev's coach. So he came up in that school of wrestling in Dagestan. And man, he is the complete package. The more I watch, the more I worry, and I worry about this matchup for Kyle. Because if you try to poke holes in this guy's game, there aren't many to be found. Incredible offense from his feet. I mean, he can fire this double leg. He has a unique way of finishing that even Sajalayev couldn't chest wrap. I mean, this guy gets in on this double. He kind of circles the opposite way and finishes. In exchanges, if you're on his leg, whether it's on the mat or standing, he is incredibly dangerous at counter scoring. He scrambles like a folk style David Taylor type of guy. He has that kind of feel in exchanges. It's sort of unique for the international wrestling. Not that we out-scramble these guys at a wide clip, but if you watch the way he wrestles in exchanges, it's really impressive. Then he can wrestle out of upper body, whether it's him with underhooks or wrestle out of an underhook with an overhook. Very dangerous, gets a lot of throws. And then you think about his match against Kyle. Kyle gets in really deep on good shots, and Kyle is a pretty consistent finisher. First shot he gets in, Tajudinov puts his feet in, chest wrap for 4, and then you're like, oh, Kyle's down 4. But he got to the leg easy, should be able to chip away at it. Then Kyle's pressuring in. He kind of does a little like kind of an overhook kick for 2 more against Kyle. And then the final nail in the coffin in the match, high crotch for Kyle. He kind of sits to the corner, rolls him through a big throw for 4 points. And just like that, it was 10-0 Tajudinov. And that wasn't just a one-off match. This guy hasn't lost in quite a while at this point. He not only teched Kyle Snyder, he absolutely broke Sadulayev, and then he pinned Magomed Muradov in the finals. This guy is the real deal, and he's like 21, 20, very young, still improving. And people are kind of pointing to some of his closer Asian matches and saying, well, maybe he is a little more vulnerable, but evidently he was dealing with some injury there, and now he's apparently fully healthy. He's a tough guy to beat. He's the 2 seed, and very, very likely that's going to be who Kyle wrestles in the semifinal round. But speaking with Kyle, he's optimistic. He said, listen, the 3rd match in the tournament is my best match. That's when I feel my strongest, and that's when those 2 would wrestle. So excited for that rematch, but make no mistake, Magomed Tajudinov is a huge, huge threat and maybe the best wrestler in the world right now. And Kyle Snyder is going to have to put it together, a perfect game plan and execution to knock him off.